Wow, I can see everyone. What a beautiful freaking audience. Okay, before I begin my talk, I want you to answer 3 questions for me. Raise of hands, okay? Question number 1. Who here had a fight in the last week? Let's be honest. Awesome. All right. All right. Okay. Question number 2. Did you do or say something that you deeply, deeply regret? Yes. Third and final question for you. Who here believes that fights destroy your relationships? That fights are damaging and bad for your relationships? That's a lot of people. This talk is going to be really useful for you. This talk is going to be easy. I'm going to change your mind before this talk ends. What if I told you that fights can not only save your relationships, but they can actually make them stronger and they can make them last a lifetime? Now, before I begin, I want to tell you a quick story about me and my best friend. So we have been best friends for about 10 years. And the interesting thing about us is we never fight. In fact, we've only fought twice. Until this one time. I was in my hometown, Bhilai, Chhattisgarh. I was there for my brother's wedding. And me and my best friend, we were on a FaceTime, talking to each other, chatting and time, whiling time away. When suddenly the doorbell rings. And I walk downstairs. I open the door. And standing at the door is my childhood friend, who I haven't seen in over a year. I am so surprised that I accidentally just cut the call. Now it's fine. I hang out with my school friend. We have some dinner. We chit chat. And she leaves. And then I call my best friend back again. Doesn't pick up. I call him again. No answer. I text him. Radio silence. Now I know something is seriously wrong. Now I ask him, I give him another call, just as a last shot. And I ask him, what's up? What's happening? Why are you behaving? Why are you behaving weird since last night? And it was almost as if he was just waiting for me to ask him this question. And he bursts out at me. He's like, how could you cut the call on my face just because your friend showed up? It's almost like I don't even matter to you. And in my head, I'm thinking, really? Over an accidental hang-up? Now, what started as a normal conversation turned into a full-fledged fight with us yelling and shouting at each other in a matter of minutes. The argument got so heated that we just decided to end the call there and just call it quits right then and there. One whole week goes by, no calls, no messages, no contact, nothing at all. Now I finally decide to give him another last call, but this time with the intent to understand. And call him. Like, what really hurt you the most? Why were you so offended? And he goes, that I'm so used to being a priority in your life that when you just cut the call on my face without even explaining, without even giving me a warning, just because your friend showed up, I felt so small, I felt so unimportant, and I felt like I was not a priority in your life. And that's when it hit me. I was like, what felt like neglect to him was coming out of a place of love for me. What felt like I was ignoring him, for me, the very reason that I felt so comfortable cutting the call on his face without an explanation was because I felt so close to him. He was like family. And in my world, we don't explain to family. So the very reason that he felt neglect was actually coming out of a different place. It was coming out of a place of love for me, from me. And this is the key lesson in the art of fighting right, which is your behavior and your intent don't always match. So the first mindset shift that we need to make in order to turn conflicts into connection is to look beyond behavior. The biggest mistake that we make when we're in a fight with somebody that we love is we assume that how people act is how they're feeling. But that's rarely the case. If you're only looking at the behavior and completely missing out the intent, you're actually missing out on the real story, the real things that's happening underneath. Okay, tell me one thing. How many of us here have little kids at home? Like you could be nieces, nephews, sons, daughters, like toddlers, little toddlers. I have a 2-year-old nephew called Rayansh. He's the most charming little boy, super vivacious, loves to be the center of attention, loves giggling, smiling all the time. Until you don't give him what he wants. He does this very peculiar thing, जहाँ पे वो जमीन पे लेट जाएगा, उसको आप अगर नहीं सुनोगे उसकी बात, जमीन पे लेट के चीखेगा चिल्लाएगा, and he's gonna refuse to get up until you give him what he wants. He throws a tantrum until you give him what he wants. Now, why I'm telling you this is because us, all of us, we are a little bit like Rayansh. We are children in grown-up bodies, especially when we fight. So when Rayansh is throwing a tantrum, when Rayansh is, yelling at me, screaming at me, and shouting and screaming at me, I don't think that Rayansh hates me. I think that, okay, Rayansh is probably hungry, or he's in pain, or he's stressed, or he's angry, right? So any sort of hurtful comments, any sort of hurtful behavior is an attempt to relieve or soothe your internal pain, which is why we say that hurt people hurt people. And that brings me to my next mindset change, which is never take anything personally. Now imagine I'm driving a car. Now I don't know how to drive, but just imagine that I'm driving a car. And I'm stuck in traffic. Okay, 1 घंटे से मैं traffic में फंसी हुई हूँ. But I'm in a great mood today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my favorite music on, blast some great music, and spend my time, pass my time for the next hour. And then as soon as the traffic moves, I move. Now tomorrow, I'm in the same route, same car, same traffic, same time. But the only thing is I had a really bad day at work. I had a terrible day at work and I'm feeling miserable about myself. I'm just not in a good mood. What I'm going to do is I'm going to honk at the guy in front of me. I'm going to roll my windows down. I'm going to yell at him and shout at him, and as if I'm expecting that me yelling at him is going to make the traffic move any faster, but it's not. The external situation was the same on both days, but how I behaved was a direct result of how I was feeling about myself on that particular day. So what people say or do has much more to do with them than it has to do with you. Because any sort of nasty behavior, any sort of hurtful behavior or comments is an attempt at relieving that pain. It's an attempt at relief. And that brings me to my third and the last and the final mindset change, which is let them win. Now, what do I mean by let them win? Whenever you're in an argument, what you're essentially trying to do is win. Now, what I mean by a win is I'm trying to tell you that my hurt is more validated than yours, that I am more qualified to feel hurt than you. That's what we're trying to do in a fight. When you are in a fight with somebody that you love, you letting them win is not justifying their behavior. It is validating their hurt. It is validating, it is letting them know that I see you, I hear you, I understand your hurt. Now, there's a spiritual aspect to it. There's a little bit of a maternal aspect to it. But if you're able to do this, you go on, you bridge the gap from emotional reactivity to emotional mastery. If you can find some comfort in the fact that this person that I love walked away with relief, they walked away with less pain, I can let them win. Most of us don't avoid fights because we think that, most of us actually avoid fights because we think that it's going to damage our relationships. But avoiding fights doesn't really solve any problems. It only buries that problem. Now, you might think that this talk is coming to an end, which you're right. It is coming to an end. But before I go, I want to give you a formula that you can use to repair your fights, because fights don't damage relationships. Fights don't break relationships. Lack of repair breaks relationships. In my client practice, this is a strategy, this is a repair formula that I've come up with for my clients and for everybody that can use it, where you take some time out after you've calmed down and you sit across each other and you ask yourself these 3 questions. It is called the repair, MIS, repair method. M for moment, I for interpretation, and S for solution. Question number 1, you sit in front of each other and take turns answering it. Question number 1, what moment really hurt you the most? What really offended you the most? Now, what we are trying to do essentially with this question is trying to understand if we are on the same page. We are trying to understand what this fight is really about. For my friend, the fight was about me cutting the call. Question number 2, interpretation. What was your interpretation of this same moment? When I cut the call, my friend's interpretation, my best friend's interpretation was that I didn't care about him. And my interpretation was that I don't have to explain to you because I love you. Think about a W in front of you. You're looking at a W, I'm looking at an N. We are looking at the same thing, but it's different based on where we are standing. Question number 3, and the most important part of this repair method, is the solution. How and what do we do differently moving forward? Now that we have understood, we've kind of understood the whole idea and we have understood what the fight was about, we have made peace with it. Now it's absolutely crucial for us to get on the same page and agree on a plan of action of how are we going to conduct ourselves in this relationship so that both of us, you and I, we feel safe and we feel that this relationship is a predictable one. So for me and my best friend, that would look something like, the next time if I'm about to hang up, I'll warn him. Or if I do accidentally hang up without warning him, he understands that this is not personal. Or maybe he just texts me and asks me, hey, is everything okay? Ask, don't assume. Relationships are a little bit like puzzles, and every single fight reveals a missing piece. Every fight points you in the direction of the weakest link. And your relationships are only as strong as the weakest links. These are the problems, the puzzles, the missing pieces are the problems that you haven't looked at, that you've refused to look at for a very long time. And now they're revealing themselves to you. If you fight well, if you repair well, you get to fill those missing pieces bit by bit, bit by bit, bit by bit, rebuild your relationship and make it into a paradise. How you fight is exponentially more important and powerful than if you fight at all. So repair well, and then you have your own version of paradise. Thank you.